As you may remember, chapter 10 was sort of a history lesson, which I really enjoyed. With chapter 11, however, we firmly return to our safe space. Dry algebraic logic and theories that can be expressed with formulas. Other than that, this chapter is mostly summarizing and wrapping up part 3 of Das Kapital. With that said, chapter 11 is about the rate and the mass of surplus value. Marx says that capitalists want to maximize the mass of surplus value because their social power depends on how much money they have. How much surplus value the capitalist can generate depends on the rate of surplus value multiplied by the number of workers he has working for him. By the way, the rate of surplus value is surplus labor divided by necessary labor. This is what Marx described in chapter 9 as the degree of exploitation. Now, the mass of surplus value, S, is defined as the previous expression multiplied by the total variable capital. Total variable capital is how many laborers there are and the value of the average laborer, their skill, so to speak. So S, mass surplus value, equals P, value of the average laborer, times SL divided by NL, surplus labor divided by necessary labor, times N, which is the number of workers. So to simplify, the rate of exploitation multiplied by the number of workers. This is the first of 3 laws that Marx seeks to establish in this chapter, and the other 2 are pretty much going to be derived from this. The mass of surplus value is the total value the capitalist gets out of his company, usually in the form of money. This equation implies that a decline in one factor can be compensated by an increase in another factor, in order to maintain the same level of mass surplus value. A decline in the number of workers can be made up for by an increase in the rate of surplus value and vice versa. Basically, if I have 10 people working for me 30 hours a week, that's the same if I have 5 people working for me 60 hours a week. At least in theory. This is the second law Marx seeks to establish. Both surplus value and the number of workers, of course, are limited. You can only work so many hours in a day, and there are only so many workers available in the workforce. Although the limit of the working day here is a far more important one. The third law Marx seeks to establish is that the mass of surplus value will change with the quantity of variable capital. Meaning, when both the value of labor power and the rate of surplus value are constant, the mass of surplus value is determined only by the mass of labor. This is something that, as you can see here, pretty much also derives from our equation here. That's it for part 3 of Das Kapital. We've now worked through more than 200 pages of Marx together, a lot of which wasn't easy, so if you stuck with us this whole time, thank you and I'm proud of you. I'm gonna take a break from Das Kapital for a while, but if there's enough interest for it, I'll definitely come back. Next up, the Communist Manifesto.